Good day, it's Joshua Taylor coming to you from here in my new place in North Bend, British Columbia. The Lord's opened up a place here for a season, just a temporary spot. I've been listening to a few podcasts on about people warning about the mark and things like that, and the timing of Nibiru coming around in maybe 18 months. A lot of events taking place, and they're all emerging. And the last few days I've been thinking about the economy. I talked to a friend of mine in Tennessee, and he was saying that the global reset is in process. It's actually come down to the fourth tier, and it starts way up here and it comes down. And that has to do with the phasing out of the Federal Reserve. That's gone. So the banks in America are about to come out with a new cash that's going to be gold backed, and so the cash in America is going to be replaced with a new cash currency, and that will hold for a time. Then there's going to be a 30% devaluation, and this lines up with the first year of Chuck Youngbrandt's timeline, where there's problems with the economy, and we know that there will be a time where the various entitlements, government entitlements, are going to stop, And one of the things that kind of struck me when I was writing out that 2-hour video by Chuck Youngbrandt was that when America was invaded and taken over by the Russian and Chinese troops, they were freed from the oppression of the mark. I don't know if the mark was in place at the time, but definitely people were being implanted, forced to take the chip and things like that. So when the armies came in, they were basically freed from that tyranny for a time. So we know that before the final 7 years comes, that the economy is going to change, and they are going to bring out the real ID. Without the real ID, you're not going to have the privileges that you have now. You won't be able to bank, you won't be able to travel and do this and that. So it is coming down. And we know that there will be a time where God will send his angels into the city to take them out of judgment when the bombs fall. And we know that the places of refuge will be established before this time. So we're talking 18 months to maybe a year and a half at most. I can't see things lasting longer than that. Next year, as we go into 2020, I believe we're going to see the signs that Chuck Youngbrandt saw in the first year of his timeline. That means trouble with the economy. The economy is being replaced with the the new world order mindset, right? So we do need to think about getting out of the cities, the ones that God is calling to get out of the cities and prepare, because you don't want to be in the cities and walking on the streets when they start ushering people into the FEMA camps and forcing people to take the chips. And so it's a time that we need to reflect on, and we need to take action now. And so if you got a farm outside of a city, if you got some land, get some other families together with you, because no one family can do it with this heat that's going to be rising because of climate change. We're going to see crop failures and things like that. So we need to get these places established, even if these Goshen camps are just a temporary measure, that any one family can find 2 other families to team up with to sell your homes. If you got homes in the city, dump your homes, get rid of them, because when the crash comes, the banks will take your house, right? Even if you have it 90% paid off, they're going to take your house for that 10%. And so we need to do, follow the example of the Muslims and the Chinese and the Asians. And the reason that they prosper is because they do work together. They do have a mindset to work together. We've lost that mindset, but we're going to have to get it back. So if you know people that are in the know and they got property, you need to start to come together, even if it's only 3 families. And you need to pull your resources together and begin to get in your gardens and begin to prepare your infrastructure for what's coming. Because there will be a time when there's going to be a lot more people being forced out of the cities, right? And so we need not fear. We need to really press into the Lord to hear His voice and begin to work together. That's our biggest default, is not being able to work together, right? You know, David Terrell, God's prophet from the world, he saw these times coming over the last 50 years. He saw God's people coming together like ants preparing for winter, and we're going to have to do it. I just want to share a short story about people I know up in northern British Columbia. They came out of Siberia during the persecution, years of persecution in Russia. And at the time when you became a believer there, you were not allowed to work, right? If you had a job, you would lose your job. So people were forced to come together into community. They had no other choice. There was no other option. And we're at that place now. We have a little time, but we're going to have to come together and learn to survive. And these people, you know, I was up there maybe 3-4 years ago, and they all got 15, 16, 17 kids. But they all pooled their resources together. They all work the land together. You know, the kids are trained up to be able to work the farm equipment. They grind all their own wheat. They make their flour every day. And that was at the time, I think they had 7-8 families there, probably close to 100 people. But they worked together. And they're such a thankful people because they came out of tribulation. They came out of being thrown into the gulags and things like that. And I've never seen the people that were so thankful. And, you know, before they eat, they would all get on their knees and thank the Father for the freedom that they had and for the food that they have on their table. But because of the persecution, they learned to come together, and God has prospered them, right? So there will be a time coming that we're not going to have the government handouts that we have now. I'm not going to have my pension. People are not going to have their welfare checks, and company pensions they're going to dry up when the economy goes into tilt. So while we still have the time, ask the Lord to put 2 other families on your path that have the same mindset. Sell your homes, get out of the city, and get into the country, and start developing these Goshen camps. And the first year of the timeline, I think we're going to have time. The second year of Chuck Yamrat's timeline is going to be a little more difficult. But we're going to have everything prepared in place before the third timeline comes into effect. So the first timeline has to do, if next year is the beginning of the first timeline, we're going to know about it. If New Orleans gets hit by a hurricane in the month of December, in the month of September, followed by an earthquake on the 19th of September, then that following December, on the 19th of December, according to what Jesus showed Chuck, 4 cities in the United States will be nuked. And I think after that, it's going to kick things into high gear. But we need to get into high gear now. And we can't wait just to sit around waiting for all this stuff to come. Noah, he was shown that he needed to prepare and secure his livelihood for his family in his days. And while we have the time, while we still have money, where money is still worth at least a little bit, we need to pull our monies together with other believers and begin to prepare. And God's given us the signs, and there's no excuse. So if we neglect to come together and prepare, then we will pay the price for not believing the Lord and beginning to take action and to prepare in faith. I'm going to leave it here. This is Joshua Taylor, just coming to you with an update. And not to fear, but we need to be ready in our hearts and in the natural for what's coming. And while we still have the time, we need to ask the Lord to guide us where we're supposed to be and begin to dig in and prepare like ants for the winter.